It's that time again where we here at ZXL delve into the masses of games on PS Plus Extra and Premium to find the best platinums for you all to go and earn before they leave the service. We've done easy plats, we've done franchises, but this month it's time to look at the most brilliant games with the most simple platinum trophies that PS Plus has to offer. So make sure to like, subscribe and let us know what games you want us to look at for August's video. As always, I save the best till last, so stick around and find out which is the nuts for this month. Here are the 5 best games with the simplest platinum trophies on PS Plus Extra and Premium right now. So let's go! One of Bethesda's final PlayStation-timed exclusives, FPS roguelike Deathloop kicks off this month's list. You play as Colt, who awakens from his own murder to discover that he's been trapped in a strange loop only he can break, so long as he can figure out how and survive the endless attacks from the inhabitants, or visionaries, and the mysterious and mega pissed off Juliana. The first couple of hours are basically a long-winded tutorial that introduces the game's system and mechanics to you gradually. This ends with you discovering Residuum, an energy source that allows you to retain items between loops. From this point, you are free to roam, explore, experiment and have fun. Assassination targets, weapons and upgrades can be tracked from the pause menu. The day is divided into morning, noon, afternoon and evening, with different events occurring in each only accessible at those times. The menu will tell you what is and isn't available, which becomes very helpful when trying to complete certain objectives. The platinum takes around 20 to 30 hours depending on how distracted you get having fun or if you're using a guide. There is nothing particularly difficult to do, some tricky trophies but nothing overly hard. Overall, the platinum is about a 4 out of 10. Now, there was an update post-release that introduced exploding enemies into the game. This can make the cleanish hand Silvo infuriatingly annoying. Bear this in mind as during the morning you will go to take out your first visionary target, and if you are seen, one of those exploding prats will end your run and you will probably have no idea until the end. Cleanish hands is easily the worst trophy of the game, but knowing you have to stealth the whole area makes it much easier. Trust me. There are a lot of fun kills and some really enjoyable stealth-related trophies to do after the main story. Overall, the platinum is great fun and helps players get the most out of the game without wasting their time or adding a ridiculous difficulty trophy that honestly wouldn't suit the game at all. Deathloop is available on PS Plus Extra right now. With Alan Wake 2 soon to hit consoles, digitally only, we felt it was time to go back to Remedy's surreal masterpiece, Control. We play as Jessie, whose investigation into her brother's disappearance leads her to Oldest House. As a member of the FBC, Federal Bureau of Control, you investigate the paranormal altered world events while looking for the truth of your brother's disappearance. Control is a third-person action adventure that will have you gripped to the edge of your seat in excitement, suspense and fear. The more ability points you earn, the more abilities you unlock, and finding all 100 for the Master Paratelaritarian Goldie will be the most tedious task on your way to Platinum. But these abilities are fantastic and can be used while wielding a transforming gun of your choosing to obliterate your enemies. The abilities you pick up also enable you to reach new areas and thus progress the story. Control does this beautifully, making your every move feel purposeful and worthwhile. It also allows a sense of familiarity as you go over the same locations over and over, but this familiarity can lead to complacency, so be careful. The familiarity can and will be swept away from you like Jack sliding off that door and down to the bottom of the ocean. 26 years later and I am still tamping that Rose couldn't just shuffle her ass over and let the poor chap on. The game's difficulty cannot be changed and the game is responsive to your ability. The better you are, the harder it'll get. I will warn you though, the combat isn't the hard part of Control. A lot of the difficulty lays in orientation, puzzles and problem solving. The game makes you think more than it makes you smash buttons like an angry ape. Although you will, because there are a couple of infuriating side bosses. Oldest House is one of the most fascinating and intriguing settings in any game I've ever played. There are so many places to explore and so much to discover, with old rooms becoming new locations and unlocking things that open up the more paranormal and surreal environments Oldest House has hidden away. Jessie is a fantastic lead and I hope to see her lead many sequels over the coming years. The story is simply fantastic with more twists and turns than a Mario Kart racetrack. You may find Control's narrative brain-bustingly confusing, but don't worry, its platinum is beautifully simple. All you need to do to earn this glorious plat is complete the story, do the side missions, collect the collectibles and ability points, and wham, bam, thank you ma'am. 5 out of 10 difficulty, a 25-hour completion time, 40 if you do the DLC, which is included in the Ultimate Edition on PS Plus Extra right now. Control is a brilliant game you should definitely add to your trophy list. Ah, crisis. Installed it on your PC and that is surely what you'd end up with back when it was originally released in 2007. a fucking crisis. Luckily, the remaster works fine on the PS4 and comes with enhanced visuals and a solid but simple and easy platinum trophy. The debut installment of Crytek's infamous trilogy is a joy to play. Controlling Nomad, you must learn how to use the nanosuit to fight the Ceph as the battle for Earth survival begins. Crysis isn't just known for its incredible graphics or fascinating story. The game's mechanics were so ahead of their time they still hold up today. Working off of a stealth armor system you need to master in order to get through the platinum with little fuss. This isn't hard, the game isn't designed for you to storm in and take every enemy on in a bullet frenzy doing your best John Wick impression. The game will nudge you gently towards using stealth to divide and conquer enemies. But if you pick up this mechanic quickly, you will have no problem with the hardest difficulty, Delta, required for the platinum. If you do, then you may want to do an easy run first and then progress to Delta, as it does get pretty rough. The final level is, without wanting to put you off, an absolute see you next Tuesday. There are collectibles, but don't worry, there is champ to select, and after popping that Delta Act 3 Silvo, you can drop the difficulty and go clean up. There were reports about accumulation-based trophies bugging out, but it seems that patches have fixed this and now everything accumulates properly. Crysis is a 4 out of 10 difficulty for FPS fanatics, but more like a 6 out of 10 for non-lovers of the genre, as Delta can be truly challenging in places, especially that final boss. Crysis will take you 10 to 15 hours based on your skill level and is a classic naughty shooter, and its platinum deserves to be in your trophy cabinet. Crysis is on PS Plus Premium now, and the trilogy can be brought digitally in store. Aloy is back! Everyone's favourite red-haired heroine returns to continue her adventures, and having been out over a year, Forbidden West is now available for you to play on PS Plus Extra. Having discovered that she was a clone of Earth's last great scientist, and that she herself had a grand purpose, Aloy leads her group of followers to the Forbidden West and the source of a mysterious plague killing everything it touches. A hot redhead lead, a fascinating world, incredible graphics, wonderful gameplay, robot dinosaurs, and now the ability to swim underwater and fly. Fucking fly. I've still not actually got round to playing Horizon 2 yet, but I cannot wait to leap off of a tall neck and glide down to safety, doing my best Batman impression. Forbidden West is a 50-hour platinum, but its difficulty is only 4 out of 10. It is a bigger world than the first installment, and there is a lot to do. Now, you don't actually have to 100% the whole map to get the platinum, much to my disdain, but there is still a fair chunk to do. Collectible side missions, upgrades, and the usual boatload of miscellaneous trophies you'd usually find in a third-person action RPG that's central weapon is a bow and arrow. Why haven't we gotten a Green Arrow game yet, Warner Brothers? Sorry, DC brain. Where was I? Horizon 2. Right. Forbidden West is a great game with a simple platinum that would look great in your trophy cabinet. It's available on PS Plus Extra now for both PS4 and PS5 stacks. The pick of the bunch, the best of the best, and honestly one of my favourite games of all time. Yes, I know. Big DC super simp ZXL professing his undying love again for a Marvel game. But I've always loved Marvel, and Guardians is up there with the very best comic book based games I've ever played. It is a sheer joy. Peter Quill is as haplessly charming as ever, voiced wonderfully by John McLaren. The gameplay focuses on Quill more than the films. The other Guardians in the game are very much side characters, NPCs just idly following you. It's a shame. It would have been amazing to rotate between the Guardians in combat instead of merely linking up with them for team moves. Hopefully the sequel will remedy this. The story too is very much Quill-centric, with him taking centre stage both in his current plight and the emotional agony of flashbacks to his childhood. The story is one of the best video game narratives I have ever enjoyed, and a colourful cast of lovable rogues are dropped into some of the most beautiful and unique environments in gaming. There is just so much to love about Guardians, it almost hurts me to talk about the negatives, which there are too. Firstly, unless you are happy with 2 playthroughs, you will have to use a guide for those missable collectibles. This will probably halve your playtime, but honestly, I wouldn't have cared if I'd had to do a second run. The story is great enough to enjoy twice. But you approach it how you want to approach it. Secondly, the combat is stiff and rather boring. It gets repetitive pretty quick and is actually saved by witty banter thrown between the Guardians. Just like a Marvel movie's poor action sequences are broken up with witty dialogue and jokes. Guardians of the Galaxy has a 15-hour platinum time with a 3 out of 10 difficulty and a 10 out of 10 for fun. Definitely my favourite AAA game of 2021. Both PS4 and PS5 stacks are on PS Plus Extra now. Enjoy every flarking second of it. There's our picks for July's PS Plus video. Have you played any of these exceptional games? Are you going to now? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching. I'm Zach, she's Crew, this is LXL. Be good to each other.